Hi, Rabbi Brian. Oh, I'm starting a moment early, but so I don't know why I feel so time constrained. Now it says 8 o'clock, so now I feel okay about starting. I'm Rabbi Brian. I'm an ordained Reform rabbi who did not do very, didn't fit very well in a brick and mortar congregation and left because I could not take, I couldn't get my head around saying words that I didn't believe and encouraging people to say words that I wasn't sure they would believe if they understood what the words were. And so I left organized religion and I started teaching. I taught math in inner city schools in Los Angeles and here in Portland. And in doing so, I really discovered my real ministry, if I may use the word ministry as a rabbi. I give myself permission to. And that really what the goal, as I can see it, is to talk about love and talk about what is keeping us from love. How can we have more love for ourselves? How can we have more love for others? And that's really what's at the heart of religion. I'm not by myself. I'm joined by a group of people. If I hit the right keystroke, there's a group of people. Hello, group of people. There they're waving. Hi. Glad you guys are all here. And I first want to thank, last week we did something totally different. Last week I had scheduled to be on an airplane at the exact same time that this service was happening. And I didn't realize that until I did. And I had a number of people who are members of this congregation, this Zoomagog, if you will. I think that's a great phrase. Anyone else? Zoomagog? Thank you. We had some members of the Zoomagog run the service, and it went beautifully. So I thank all the people, Meg and Dan, who helped behind the scenes in subtle and good ways, and Joe and Maria. And I thank all of you who were here last week who contributed to what I was, to use a Yiddish phrase, I was schlepping naches. I was so proud to see people using things that I have taught and extending it. And as an educator, I learned something called Bloom's taxonomy. And Bloom's taxonomy is that there's different levels of learning. And at the base of a learning is being able just to repeat something. If you just repeat it, you haven't really done much with it, but you can say something back. And at the very top of learning is being able to use the thing on your own, to make it your own. If you understand something well enough to apply it to a situation where it has never been applied before, that's the height of learning. And that's what we had last week. Okay, Ellen and Andy, we love you. We just muted you. And I thank you all for having your microphones unmuted so that if there's something you want to say, and so I can actually interact with you in a much more live sense. Anyway, last week I wasn't here. Last week Joe brought, and Meg brought, how stages of grief fit into the stages of a spiritual religious life. And it was freaking awesome. It was so much fun. I did ask, and I lost my card with it. Oh, here it is. If there was something that you picked up in the last week or the last 2 weeks, is there a way of applying something that we've already learned in a new way that you'd care to share with us? And I before I take volunteers from you guys, I'm going to share that I had a realization about 2 weeks ago. We got a whole discussion about what the difference between a request and a demand is. And the simple working definition was that it's a demand, no matter how nicely it's said. We often think that a request is if it's nicely said and a demand if it's said forcefully. But what we discussed a few weeks ago is that it's only a request if the person who is being asked feels that they can say no without retribution. And what I realized I could connect to that Maria, it's your favorite of all of the acronyms that we use, Tamakatri Roy, that it fits in with Tamakatri Roy. And if you don't know what Tamakatri Roy is, let me spell it out. It's a nice way, all by letters, of saying it's impact, not intent. It says the meaning of communication is in the response elicited regardless of intention. That the meaning of communication is in the response elicited regardless of intention. That it doesn't matter how nicely you think you asked somebody to do something. If they think you're going to hold it over your head, then it's a demand. And so I linked these two things in the last week. Is there something, dear friends, that you picked up in the last week or 2 weeks where you were applying something that we learned in a deeper, newer way? Boy, am I asking a hard question right off the bat. But I really was hoping somebody had prepared something. Okay, I'm just going to sit here in awkward silence for a moment. Okay. Oh, good. Hi, Dan. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. A little off the cuff thought is having the discussion about the boundary not at the time that the boundary needs to be set. So to do it in the off season might help soften. Anyone else have a thing? And also, Dan, you're reminding me of the 70% rule, and this one's hard to do. If the person telling the story gets 70% of the facts right, keep your mouth shut. Okay, and it doesn't have to be 70%. It could be 80%. Diana, what you got, my friend? Hmm. And here you got called on for having your hand up? Well, thank you for taking the good spirits. I started with a new therapist recently, and she said, something you need to know about me is I very much value self-care. And so I will not be working the month of August. And if I don't feel well, I will cancel our sessions. And I thought, well, golly gee, this is someone I can definitely learn from. Show of hands, how many of you are experts at self-care? We got like one hand. Okay, isn't that great? We're all not good at it. I'm going to tell you a story. I kind of was. Is there a hand up that you wanted to say something, or is that a hand up because you still are on the last thing? Go ahead. Hold on one second, Kimberly. It looks like you're trying to say something, but you're on mute. You have to unmute some device there, Kimberly, or we cannot hear you. I can try to read your lips. Okay, she says, never mind. Okay. If you get it fixed, let us know. And did we see by chance on Facebook if we have any problems with the audio? Because one of my settings here looks a little bit off.
It's fine.
Oh, good. Thank you. Good. Thank you, Dan. Okay, I want to tell you a story. Go ahead, Bob, and then I'll tell you a story.
You know what an expert is? It's a
Yeah.
worn out drip. An expert.
An expert is a worn out drip. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Okay, I want to tell you a story. There's a rabbi who's walking with one of his or her students next to them, and the student's carrying a cup of coffee. And somebody bangs into the student, spills the coffee. And the rabbi says, do you know why you spilled the coffee? And the student says, yeah, because somebody bumped into me. No, says the rabbi. You spilled coffee because that's what you were carrying. If you were carrying tea, you would have spilt tea. If you were carrying milk, you would have spilt milk. What it is that we carry is what we spill. If you're filled with anger, anger is going to come out. If you come out with anger, why are you coming out with anger? Because that's what you're filled with. If compassion's what's coming out, it's because you're filled with compassion. Okay, I'm going to appreciate... Can I get like 5 more people to nod their heads? It's a good story. Glad I shared it. Any commentary on that story before I put that one to bed?
I liked it.
Okay, thank you. I was a little afraid in telling it that people who come out with anger don't want to think that it's their fault that they're coming out with anger, that the anger is coming from the other person. But really, I think the anger comes from us.
I learned that a long time ago.
Care to give us another sentence and say more?
I realize
you can totally say no.
What? Me? Say no? Please. Chance to chat. I realized I was a good friend of someone who was really, really angry all the time. And it occurred to me that this is not how I wanted to be. Now, it's taken years of self-talk and, therapy and all that. But now it takes a lot for me to be angry now. And I'm able to... One of the things that I really like about not being so angry, my energy goes somewhere else. I'm not fighting. I'm not using my energy for anger. I can use my energy even maybe just for quilting or knitting. But that's what I really like about not being as angry as I was.
Thank you, Meg.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you, Kimberly.
Oh, great. Okay. I found the button finally to push. As you know, I wanted to join a congregation here in Munich, a liberal reform, Bet Shalom it's called. And I've been able to visit about every 6 weeks. That's, how they, for some reason, they have their visiting evenings. But now that I have my confirmation certificate, I gave it to the rabbi, and he said, well, we don't accept any confirmations, any
conversion.
What do you call them? Confirmants outside of Europe. It's great, huh? I was not angry. I was sad. Yeah. Because it's sort of, every time I visited, I felt so much at home. And when I go to the Orthodox, which is the big, beautiful new synagogue in the center of Munich, I just don't feel at home. Mm-hmm. And
Kimberly, did they tell you why that is?
Yeah, because the Rabbinical Council does not accept, people outside of Europe, I guess, who are they don't accept their Judaism.
A dumb rule.
Yeah, of course.
I will
Absolutely.
give you, and I don't know that I would have the guts to do what I'm about to suggest, but I have suggested it in the past to other people, is to show up to that synagogue anyway. And just keep showing up and say to them, I'm sorry you don't accept me as a Jew, but I am Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, I did. First of all, I thought I would write an angry letter or email, but I thought, no, I don't get angry. Quite. I've been also a practicing Buddhist, and I know how to handle anger.
Wonderful.
And
I think
I decided, and
Kimberly, you're doing a wonderful job of also transitioning us to our topic for today. What is our best strategy for dealing with dumbassery? What are the best practices? And I figure, I look at all the people who are here, we have enough people who have enough years of experience that we should be able to come up with some wisdom and some learning of what are some best strategies of dealing with dumbassery. Now, before we continue further into this topic, I think we need to, I don't know we need to exactly define, but I think we should have a little bit of time to qualify what is dumbassery. Before we figure out how to deal with it, a working definition of dumbassery. And let me, before we continue on dumbassery, I like to make up words like spiritual religiousness. And I know last week there was a little bit of discussion of why do I use the word spiritual religious. And the reason I use spiritual religious or spiritual religiousness is because the word spiritual has baggage to it. And if I use the word religious, it has baggage to it. But if I make up a word spiritual religious, we know what I'm talking about, even if we can't define it exactly. Similarly, I had a similar, but I forgot what that was just while I was talking. Spiritual religiousness is a made-up word. Dumbassery is here's the other thing. Some of you are hip to the fact that I often talk about love, kindness, and compassion, and I use all three words. And I don't just say, let's talk about love. I talk about love, compassion, and kindness. Compassion, kindness, and love. I put all three words out together because if I put all three words out together, you get a sense of what I'm talking about, and I'm not just talking about love, which would lead to a discussion of agape versus eros versus philia. I don't care. I'm talking about love, the whole of love. Love, compassion, and kindness. So that being said, dumbassery. If we can't start with a definition of it, can you give me a simple example? And let me pause before you give a simple example. I am asking us to no longer vilify and take cheap shots at our political enemies.
of course.
Give me James, help me out. Help me give a definition for dumbassery.
I used to be the stated clerk for our local presbytery, which is 63 churches that got together. And we had one minister that we eventually had to ask to leave the denomination. And I would constantly ask, is he ignorant or just arrogant? And the answer was yes. So I think if you combine ignorant, arrogant, you get a dumbassery.
So to have dumbassery, I like what you're saying, that dumbassery has some sense of ignorance. Ignorance. And in the word ignorance, there's this idea, it's not that you just don't know, but it's that you ignore the thing that you could know. So there's a willful ignorance to dumbassery. Willful ignorance to dumbassery. What else? Thank you, James. What else is dumbassery? Oh my gosh, that was such a dumbass thing that guy did. What am I talking about? What was a dumbass thing?
Thoughtlessness.
So it's willful ignorance. It's thoughtless.
I don't know if it's the same as willful ignorance. I'm thinking of
Help me out.
don't know that you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Okay.
So you don't know that you don't know. And
Right.
they think they're wise, but they're being a dumbass.
Okay. So maybe it's not willful ignorance. Yeah.
They don't know that they're,
But
I don't know if that's willful.
So
they
help
don't
me.
know.
Hold on,
They don't
Meg.
know.
Meg, hold on 1 second. Let me get back to Steve, and then we'll get to you, Meg. If it's not if it's just ignorance, if it's really that they just don't know better, it's really hard for me to be judgmental. That's not true. It's easy for me to be judgmental. I do it really, really well. But it's not right for me to be judgmental if they just don't even, if it's just naivete.
Okay.
And that's something different. Yeah.
They don't, but they don't know what you think they should know.
Hold on. I think we might be getting at something here. They don't know what I think they should know. That seems like a problem, but it does seem oddly, and I'm looking at your faces because I see smiles of recognition going across people's faces of, oh shit, dumbassery is just that they don't know the thing that I think they should know, but they don't know. And then we're going to get into a problem of how am I going to hold it against them? How am I going to hold their ignorance against them if they don't know what they don't know? Oh, this discussion is going to the left much faster than I thought it was going. Go ahead, Steve.
Let me give you an example.
Please, and then we'll take Ray and Wendy. Go.
I remember once a little gas station cashier. And it was one of those simple things. I give you a little extra money and you can give me back a $5 bill.
Yeah.
And this poor cashier just could not grasp it. Here's this woman working the cash register and doing things. And she looks at me and says, I was never very good with numbers.
And are we classifying that as dumbassery? No.
Why is she working as a cashier?
Okay, so there was some dumbassery along the way to make her a cashier. But we can't hold it against her that she's not so good with numbers. Ought we? Ray and then Wendy.
Well, for me, there's this thing about, well, you should know that. I know that. Why don't you know that?
Right.
Everyone knows that. Well, that's not the truth. And so when we start putting everyone in there, putting people in that, you should know it because I should know it. They're on the other side. Well, I know how to do this and this. Do you know how to do that? No. Well, then you're a dumbass.
Right. So it's we got a bit of a problem coming out. Anne, I got you in a second, but let me take Wendy first. And there's somebody who has a really great exhale that we're hearing on a microphone.
Yeah.
It's awesome breathing. I'm really, and I like how slow and deliberate your breath is. But if you could please mute or stop breathing so loudly. Go ahead, Wendy, and then Anne.
So I wanted to go back for a minute to the word judgment or judgmental.
Yeah. Do it.
Because just dumbassery, the word itself, and trying to define it, implies that there's a judgment. And given that we're all equal and we're all human beings and we all struggle, is there a need for the word?
Yeah. Okay, this is going perfectly because it's not going anywhere where I thought it was going to go, but that's fantastic. So we're saying that just by calling something dumbass, that we are filled with judgment. This is not looking good, folks. It's looking like the best way to deal with dumbassery is for the problem's not with them. The problem seems to be with me. Well, that's not juicy and fun and what I was hoping to get at. Let's take Anne, and then Jack.
I think of dumbassery as there's an element of sort of deliberate obtuseness, like somebody who has been told and knows, but they just kind of hang on to their ignorance.
So we're back to this idea of willful, that there's something willful in it. Can you give an example, Anne?
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I know I've experienced
Somebody lights up a cigarette in the elevator that you're going on. Is that dumbassery?
Only no, in that case it's only if they that they know they shouldn't be doing it.
It's 2025. We don't smoke indoors in small spaces anymore. I don't know that
It might be from another country though, so we're making an assumption.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What is with all this compassion that I'm hearing from people here? This is
because it's before the high holy days. And instead of judging people, we're at a time when we're judging ourselves and are trying to be better.
Thank you, Carol. The Jewish high holidays are coming, and the theme is that it's as though we're preparing for our own death, and we have to take a look at really who we are, what we have done, and make atonement, ask for forgiveness for where we've strayed. Thank you, Carol, for bringing us timely. Also, and you'll get an email about it because somebody did some dumbassery and checked the calendar, but incorrectly. The high holiday service that's going to be online will be Thursday the 25th, not Wednesday the 25th, because it's very hard to have Wednesday the 25th in September. So we're going to move it to Thursday the 25th. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'd be a millionaire for all the stupid stuff that I've committed throughout my life. So I don't judge anybody anymore. It's not worth it.
I still do. I am still very good at judging.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's okay. I mean, you're going to do it anyway. I mean, I'm just as probably with all the years I've spent, I'm probably more judgmental than anybody on everything. But I try to keep most of it to myself.
That's fantastic. No, here, wait, I have papers on I have notes and things I thought we were going to talk about for dumbassery, so I'm going to take a look at that. Thank you, Jack. Judgment. Go ahead, Al.
If Al's not going to
It
talk,
occurs to me that the dumbassery is kind of a way of calling somebody a dumbass with putting just enough indirection in it that you won't feel so bad about calling somebody names. There's a lot of judgment in it.
There is a lot of judgment in it.
You know?
well,
I mean, I wouldn't want to call somebody a dumbass, but I might say, "Oh, that was dumbassery," but it's kind of the same thing if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Kimberly.
if you're a victim of that person, that's the question. Or you're just observing.
Okay, I get on the elevator, somebody lights up a cigarette.
Okay.
I'm gonna later talk to my peer group and my friends and say, "Oh my God, this person's such a dumbass. They lit up a cigarette before they got off the elevator."
Big deal.
Go ahead, Ray. You got something to add?
Well, I'm looking at this and to try to put a little humor into it and not make it so heavy is, why do we call people dumbasses? An ass is a very nice animal. He's hardworking. He eats what you give him. He doesn't complain very much. So I don't know why we call him.
Why we are maligning the I don't know.
Maligning a very nice animal.
It does remind me.
Why don't we just call them stupid people?
Dummy heads. Yeah.
The truth. Stupid humans.
Thank you, Ray. Go ahead, James.
A long time ago on the TV show Justified, the sheriff had a good saying that if you look around and everybody else is an asshole, maybe you're the asshole.
Thank you.
I may know a person who's a dumbass, but I could be wrong.
So I think we're doing a really lovely job of talk. This feels like people in the ivory tower trying to talk about a situation but this isn't who we are in real life. In our day-to-day life, we're filled with much more judgment than we're showing and talking about here. Here we're talking about, oh, I'm not so judgmental, and really I'm at fault, not them. I don't see this out in the wild so well. Let me.
Okay, I got one for you, Brian.
Yes, please, Diana.
Okay, you all can help me with this. Local coffee shop I go to all the time. Sign on the door, service dogs welcome. So I go in and there's what I call a ponytail, which is my slang for young university, lovely young woman with lots of hair up. And
how dare they?
And she has her Great Dane in there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And it's, very much in the way. And I am highly suspicious it's not a service dog. And I'm seeing this a lot in the coffee shop as people are bringing their dogs in as they order. And it's annoying me. Okay, because I leave my dog outside because I'm holy and righteous. Okay. So yeah. So I go over to her and just say, "Oh, what's your dog's name?" She tells me, and I say, "Oh, he's a service dog." She goes, "Oh, no." I said, "Oh, well, they're not really supposed to be in here." And she said, "Well, we're just ordering." I was like, "Yeah, I understand that, but that's not the point. I just wondered if you understood that." And she's just like, "Well, they let me do it the other day. I don't know why this is a problem for you." And I was just like, it's the owners have set forth the principle. I'm just pointing it out. Well, then we go outside. The whole thing falls apart. I can go on, but I'll stop there.
The whole thing falls apart. Is this where somebody bangs into you and you spill the coffee because you were carrying coffee at the time?
I think so. I mean, she ended up coming over, sitting with me and my dog and saying, well, you can take your dog in there. And I said, no, that's not what I'm going to do because she's not a service dog. Well, then her dad gets up and comes over and says, "Who made you the dog police?"
Wait a second. Diana, I got to ask you a question. Yeah. How did you not get... You're telling this story with laughter and with an ease of spirit, and I can imagine that some of us would have been pissed off by this point.
This is because time has passed. I got totally down in the ditch with them.
At the time.
And my parting shot to him was, "I just wish I was cool like you."
Nice. Nice.
This is pathetic.
I have a great... Go ahead, Carol.
This man went to a rabbi for a blessing. And he said, "May you have many troubles."
Yes.
He said, "That's a blessing?" He said, "When you have many troubles, they're trivial. When you have a big trouble, it's the only one."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think dealing with dumbassery is trivial.
Oh, interesting. So we should be happy when we are... Oh, what a reframe that is. Next time you get upset by some dumbassery, be so excited because you get to be upset about something that's so picky, so small. That's a lovely idea.
It's a pebble, not a rock.
It's a pebble, not a rock. Here's a Mark Twain phrase. Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. So,
very good.
What do we do with dumbassery? I think, and this fits with Mark Twain and with Diana, is not get involved.
I have to... Oh, can I say something?
Yes, Kimberly.
I just wanted to tell a very, very short little story. Two Buddhist monks are walking along, and there's a mud puddle, and there's a lovely woman standing there, and she'd like very much to have the help of the monks to get her over this. Yes, so they help her, and about 2 minutes later, the one monk asks the other one. He says, "Why?" No, I think this one monk actually picked her up and carried her over the mud puddle. And the other one said, "Well, how could you do that? You're not supposed to even touch a woman." And he said, "Well, I put her down, but you're still carrying her."
Correct. So if we let the dumbassery, folks, and I think it goes with what Diana said is, who made us the dumbassery police? Can you imagine in real time just letting shit slide? How about that for homework? I see some people squirming uncomfortably as though this is an awful idea. I think if you're squirming uncomfortably, you understand what the assignment is. The assignment is to fire ourselves. I'll get you in 1 second, John. Is to fire ourselves from being the dumbassery police. I have a quote that is related, and I've been dying to use since I just got this quote in the last 2 weeks. It's a quote from Freud, and it says this: "The first person to hurl an insult and not a rock was a progenitor of civilization." Let me say that again. The first person to hurl an insult and not a rock was a progenitor of civilization. And what I take this to be is, if somebody's insulting me, maybe I don't know that I can do this, but maybe I can be excited that they're just throwing an insult at me. They're not throwing a rock. Go ahead, John.
Rudolf Dreikers, a student of Alfred Adler, put out the idea, take your sails out of their wind.
Yes.
Yeah. Bravo. Very good.
I thought Jon Stewart did a really good job of that Thursday night.
Absolutely.
For anybody that saw it.
Totally.
Take your sails out of their wind. So I have an idea about, that might help us understand about dumbassery. There are 3 sections. There's before the dumbassery occurs, before we get to the Starbucks and there's a Great Dane, before somebody lights up a cigarette on the elevator.
We allow dogs in cafes.
And then there's after. And here's the actual dumbassery. Are there things that we can do before that will help us not be so thrown by dumbassery? Are there things we can do after that will help mitigate the harm that we took in from dumbassery? There's got to be some lever we can move somewhere. And I'd love to hear from some voices I haven't heard from yet, but that's a lot of pressure. Oh, wait, Rob Krieger, it's your birthday.
Hey, Jenny. It's okay, honey.
Happy birthday, Rob. Rob, I will ask while everyone's thinking here for a second if they can do something before or after. Rob, would you like your birthday with or without song?
Without.
Without, okay. And we will respect your wishes and wish you a happy birthday. Very good. Back here. What can you do before to gird yourselves, to gird your loins? Oh, that phrase. Does that phrase skeeve anyone else out? It just doesn't sound right to me. Gird your loins.
No. That's something totally different.
What can you do? What can you do in advance so that the dumbassery doesn't affect you so much? And what can you do afterwards so you're not carrying, as Kimberly talked about, so you're not carrying their dumbassery with you?
Well, how can you
lift them over the puddle?
I had two voices happening at the same time, and I caught neither. Help them over the puddle is what Rob said, and then there was another voice.
Lift them over the puddle.
So what can we do when there's dumbassery is we can lift them over the puddle, and I'm going to translate that as mean we can love them for who they are. You know the thing about the spoon?
Here you go.
You remember the thing about the spoon? It was a Irving Becker quote. We haven't talked about it in a very long time. That if you dislike someone, the way they hold their spoon will offend you. And if you like them, they could drop a plate of food in your lap and you wouldn't mind. If you love the person, you're going to forgive their dumbassery. Carry them over the puddle. Do it.
Maybe even have compassion for them.
God forbid we could even have compassion for them, and that would not only would that be good for them, but it would be good for us. Right. I saw Harold, but Harold come after Jordan and then Jen. So we'll do Jordan, Harold, and then Jen.
Right. Talking about things you can do ahead of time, I guess. We've talked here about separating observation and judgment. Right? You see something, but you don't have to judge it immediately. So if you can get good at that, you can say, some idiot just brought their dog into the cafe. I guess that's judgmental already, right? Some person just brought their dog into the cafe.
It's
I see that.
And you just did it perfectly there, Jordan, is to notice your own self. Notice your own thought. And it's the pause. It's not the pause that refreshes. It's the pause that gives us the ability to change routes.
Find some distance.
Yeah. Go ahead, Harold.
Yeah,
sorry, Diana.
That's right.
This reminds me of the SAUR. And if you work with SAUR, or it's kind of your mental attitude, I think that it helps calm you with that timeline between observation and judgment. See, accept, understand, respond.
Give me that last sentence you said again. Oh, seeing, accepting, understanding, responding. You were just spelling out sour.
Yeah. And that gives you time.
So you're back. So we're saying, folks, this is feeling really lovey-dovey, but we're saying if we can get more love in the picture, the dumbassery quotient will go down. Our heart, our tension will go down. If we can love that person, oh my God, what an idiot, as opposed to, oh my God, what an idiot.
I'm not sure.
Go ahead. Say it again, Harold.
I'm not sure I would agree with that exactly. See, accept is a key before you can love somebody. So, talk about ponytail with the Great Dane. You see this chick walking in this coffee shop with a ponytail and the big dog, and what do? You don't throw a rock at me. You say, "Oh well, she probably doesn't know it better," and give her a little bit of a break. So you have to accept that she's going to do it.
Yeah.
Then understanding, her father obviously didn't raise her very well. So by the time you sort that all out and you go to the R with respond, there isn't anything you can say because father didn't raise her and she's going to do it anyhow.
So we're back to if we accept and understand, and we're back to this love thing. It just keeps coming back to love. Ding dang it. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, this might be similar to what Harold was saying. Is carrying someone over the puddle accepting and loving, or is leaving them at the edge of the puddle to do whatever they're doing and having their experience? Is that acceptance and love? And it just feels very difficult because it's like we want to teach people to not be dumbasses based on our own understanding of what is appropriate and not appropriate. So
you're right. We don't want to just let this slide. We want to do something. So what is it that we do? And I have an answer to this. I have an answer to this. I'm going to call on me, and then we're going to get to Jack. I just heard this phrase, and I wonder if it couldn't be used, Diana, in the ponytail Great Dane. So the phrase, the way I heard it was, what is what I'm saying going to feel like to the person to whom I'm talking? Is to say to the woman, hey, I wonder what it might mean to you, what it might tell other people by you breaking this rule. It's elementary empathy. But one of the ways to deal with dumbasses is say, do you realize that the words you're saying, not do you realize, that's judgmental again. I'm new at this, so hold on. Is to say to them, how do you imagine what you're saying right now is being taken? The note I made was that you try how to deal with dumbassery. I didn't have the brilliant idea of love. That was your guys' idea. My idea was that if we agree with them with curiosity, hey, I'm wondering, but not, hey, I'm wondering why you think you're better than everyone and you can bring your dog in and everyone else can't. But say, hey, I'm curious about what you think what you're doing says to other people. I think I'm just repeating myself at this point. Okay. Let's go to Jack and then Dan, and then we're going to take a moment for announcements. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, there's something you yourself brought up a couple of weeks ago about asking who you are, what you're doing here, and where you're going.
That was Steve, but thank you.
Yeah, well, that would open up a whole new area where all of this problems we have will be treated in a different way.
If we treat it with...
Whatever we learn from who we are, what we're here for and where we're going, would make a big difference in handling all of the problems that arise and what we all talked about today.
Thank you, Jack. We're back to compassion, folks. And I know I wrote recently in one of the newsletters, I wrote about the fact that somebody left this service because they were sick of me talking about the same things over and over again. So I apologize that this is a rerun about love, compassion, kindness, understanding. Sorry that we're back on the same topic again. Okay, but seriously, whoever was complaining, and I know who, I have two people who were upset, but the one guy, all I can think is, what a fucking dumbass. How are you going to complain that the service is about compassion again? Like, fuck you. Okay, that was supposed to go against the compassion. I thought that was funny.
Angry. Yeah, you got to put the woman down.
I have rights to be angry. Sometimes my views are not what happens in reality.
Okay.
Dan, and then Ellen or Andy. Oh, and then Steph. And Diana. Sorry, I didn't see your hand, honey.
I think there's stuff that we shouldn't accept, right? You know,
right. But how do we deal with it? So we don't like it. Yeah. We're not going to ignore it. What's the best way of dealing with it?
Right. But I think that some of the reaction has been about we should just let things go. And I'm just saying that some dumbassery stuff we shouldn't.
Right, there is some dumbassery that we have to confront, and the question is how. And so far we have curiosity and compassion. So how to best deal with is curiosity and compassion. Go ahead, Ellen or Andy.
Well, what about first taking a minute to look at yourself and asking, why am I reacting to this?
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yeah.
You may not, it may not be worth it to confront the person or to, delve more into it if really the problem is more yourself. I mean, and you've had a lot of services where you talk about that, look at your reaction, take a step back, let it diffuse. But also when you react.
Sometimes I want to react because I want to feel holier than thou. I want to feel like I'm right, they're wrong. I'm human. I do that.
And you can also look at what your goal is to, if you do address it with the other person and all that, chances are you're not going to, what you want to do is get them to say, oh, you're right, I was wrong, I'm not going to ever do it again. But that rarely happens.
Hold on to that. I wanted to talk about, yes. So I heard an interview on NPR, and the interviewer, the person being interviewed asked the interviewer, when was the last time you were in an argument and the other person changed your mind? And the interviewer says, I don't believe that's ever happened. Arguing with a dumbass, it goes back to the Mark Twain quote, is just going to cause trouble, going to cause problems for us. So we know not to argue, and we know that compassion and curiosity might be good. Go ahead, Steph. Steph,
you're muted.
Steph is working on mute. There you go. You're
Sorry, thank you. Apparently Control A is not what I'm supposed to do. Maybe it's Alt A. Maybe I needed a moment to think, because the last things that were said were
Take a breath of air. You're good. You're fine.
Okay, first of all, I was late, and I feel almost bad because somebody did something with my cigarettes and I went total anxiety. And of course I'm thinking, who the hell would do such a dumb thing to me? Because the worst thing you can do to an addict is take what they're addicted to without giving them a thought. So now I'm calm. And my mom has said some really horrific things about kill me. If I thought I wanted to be male, just kill me. Just put me in an asylum and give me the death penalty and stuff. And I know she's pushing my buttons, totally pushing my buttons, but my response was not where I would like it to be, because it was, that's really wrong, Mom. That's really horrific. But instead, I could realize that she's coming from fear.
So that you're getting you're having compassion for her.
Yeah, but I also get to say how I feel. Say, well, that scares me, Mom. I don't want to live in a world where people feel that way about themselves or about others.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Do you realize? Oh, I got to stay away from that. So I want to not try to change her mind, because that's controlling. But I get to say my feelings, and I can say, please don't talk that way around me. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Boundaries.
And I can make the request, but they don't have to live with it.
Correct.
But I have feet. I can leave.
Beautiful.
So, thank you.
Alex, and then we got to do some announcements and prayer time.
I think that there's a line between, and I'm not sure where it is, between, the really hateful, ugly, horrible stuff, like some of the things that Steph was talking about her mother, and some of the things that I've dealt with at work and at my car club recently, with people saying, going on misogynistic rants or, hateful things, expressing views like killing homeless people. There's that. And then there's just regular dumbassery that is very mild. Like, one of the things that I've noticed in public is for some reason, men have decided to start calling me honey, sweetheart, and stuff like that. And I'm going, dude, I'm way past my expiration date for honey and sweetie and darling. And so the way I've started to respond to this is with a slight stab couched in humor. And I will say something like, well, bless your heart. Thank you so much, teeny weeny.
One way of dealing with dumbassery is trying to beat them at their own level. Fantastic. Good job. Let me pause for a moment and let's do some announcements. My goodness, I have enjoyed this conversation. So here's the it's okay to not be okay comment is this one today. I know I was made for this, but those are some big waves. Brings me to our usual card that says this. It's okay not to be okay. I think it's really important for us to remember that.
Definitely.
Brian.
Yes.
Totally.
Diana. Was that Diana?
Yes.
Go ahead, my friend.
What I realized when I landed I was the one who was the dumbass putting my sail into their wind, was that I was coming into that feeling very out of control because of my husband's pending death, and just wanted control of something. It was an easy target.
I got you.
It's like
right,
rule, you're not following it. I can exert control, which of course was, feeble. But I could see you were not, was not in a place to engage constructively.
Right. Thank you, Diana. Diana, that's the second great story you've told us about your coffee shop. So I want to ask you to continue going to your learning spot there. Maria, would you help us with our prayer time?
These are the individuals to whom we are sending light and love. Alex and John, Gwen, Reed, Bill, and Karen, Rita S., Sheridan H., Arlene Hill, Ebony, Beth Carney, Connie B. in spirit, Heidi, Cullen and family, and Jessica, Daniel, Bodie, Irma P. and family, Sally and Bob B., Trish F., Chan family, Saul R. and Barbara R., and Bernadette Applebaum and Leo Applebaum. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat, and I will add them to the list on Facebook. And for the individuals who aren't named but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Thank you, Maria. Let's take a minute to just think about how blessed all of us who don't need prayers said for us at this moment are. Think about those who need a little extra boost. So before we end, and if you're new, please stick around for a second hour, and we open up discussion groups that are not broadcast to all of Facebook. What's the moral of the story here today? For me, the moral of the story is more compassion and understanding and less arguing. What'd you get as the moral of the story today?
I think it's a little bit about our intention, like to think about where what we're taking into that and what our intention is of possibly saying something or not saying something, just to make sure you're aligned.
Thank you, Jen. Someone else?
Yeah.
Kimberly, who's going for an all-star record. Go ahead.
No, I think it's very important to constantly analyze oneself.
Amen.
And realize that we also do stupid things.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of humility wouldn't hurt.
It would be lovely. Let's do Chad and Lisa and then Ruth.
Enjoy your coffee. There will always be dogs in the way.
And some of them don't have 4 legs.
Yeah. I love that, Lisa. Thank you so much. Ruth, what do you have?
The whole discussion has brought into focus for me what you said recently. I'd rather be kind than right.
Oh, hot diggity. Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you, Ruth. Steph, you got a closing comment?
Just the concept of more love or more compassion. I try to go with love, and compassion and leave out the more because it is loving or it isn't.
I love that. I love that. Kindness, compassion, love. If you have to sign off early, put a little thing in the chat now so that people know to say goodbye to you. Otherwise, we're going to stop the recording. Let's wave to all the people who are there on Facebook and the 30-something people who might watch this later. Thank you so much for watching it. We'd love you to join us live at some time. And